Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Brandy. Thank you so much for being here.
Sage, it is such an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. I am so excited to introduce you to one of my mentors, Brandy Gilmore. She's an incredible and world-renowned speaker, mind, body, and healing expert. She's the host of the Cutting Edge podcast, Heal Yourself, Change Your Life. Brandy understands and is listening to something that I've never fully been exposed to before in the way that she does it. And so when I asked her to become a part of this series and this training that we're doing for you, I just was over the moon excited when she said yes. Brandy is most well known for her discoveries using the power of the mind to create super rapid healing results. And due to these miraculous results and her own impossible recovery, Brandy's work has captivated audiences around the world. She's given an incredible TEDx talk. She has this incredible committed heart and commitment to change the world by helping to heal others, helping other people find their own healing journey. And she works with top celebrities, entrepreneurs, Olympic athletes, CEOs worldwide to really help us understand that the power of our own minds is what heals us. Brandy, you've helped thousands and thousands of leaders like really create like a next level healing. What's your story? How did you get to be so damn intuitive?
I love that. Honestly, I have to say this is the last thing that I ever thought that I would be doing. I used to do network engineering and operations, and basically I was injured, wheelchair, walker, cane for about 7 years, and my doctor said that I wasn't going to get better. And I literally went from like living a full life and traveling and doing all these things to being stuck in bed on morphine in extreme pain. On a good day, I could get around with like a wheelchair or walker or cane. I was a train wreck. And when they said that there was nothing they could do, I did the normal route where it's like, okay, well, let me look for diet and supplements and look outside of the box. And the last place that I thought it would lead me was to the mind and energy and consciousness and all of that. But that's ultimately what happened is I started to really look at like the placebo and going, wait a second here. We have more power in our minds than we realize. And then just even like simplified it and started going, emotions, they affect us. And, if somebody's embarrassed, they get a red face. And so I just really started breaking it down to understand this power that is in our mind. And ultimately changed my health. And it was funny because I went to go heal myself. And not only did it heal my body, it radically changed my life. So that's kind of the side effect, if you will, it was absolutely life-changing. And so that's what I love with leaders and helping people, amazing, incredible people like Sage, but beautiful, amazing people, is that when we learn to really connect with our body and understand the message that it's giving us, it makes radical, amazing changes. And we're all just incredible beings.
And Brandy, like you were told that you wouldn't walk again. Like you were told that like it was you likely wouldn't walk again.
I was told that I wouldn't get better. So at my worst case, like I had a hard time going 10 feet, but if with a cane or a walker, like I could struggle to get there, but it was so much pain. So yeah, they said this was it. Like this was my life. And it scared me. And and I mean, it took me 7 years to figure it out because I did all the traditional things, the meditating, the affirmations, like I was begging, I'm praying, begging, one of the two, but I was just like, whatever it takes, binaural beats, phantom phase frequencies, all these things, but it didn't work. And what I began to realize is I needed to work with the mind with more precision.
And as you did, and over those 7 years, you began to work with a mind with more precision and you began to work on your own mind. And then you became an athlete. Tell us something that you did once you were out of your wheelchair and walking more than 10 feet.
I started lifting weights with bodybuilders, but I was also already an athlete prior to, so I'm in the Hall of Fame for martial arts. So, and that was prior to my injury. And that's what, yeah. So that's what's that?
And now you can walk and run and
and lift insane amounts of weights that nobody thinks that I would possibly be able to lift. I started when I was getting better, I would at first I was working on getting better, and I would take my walker like into the gym, and I started like lifting weight because I was still figuring out my mind. And these huge bodybuilders were like, we have never seen anybody do what you've done. Because I literally went from like train wreck to like, hey, I can lift weight. And they were like, you could work out with us. So we like started lifting weight. I can run. I'm 100% healthy, happy. It's grateful for over like 10 years now.
You inspire me so much with that story. If you want more of Brandy's story, go watch her TEDx talk. She's amazing. And there's this way that you tap into the power of our mind with such precision that you've blown me away. I've seen you heal people from all kinds of serious diseases and illnesses. Uh, like, what do we need to know about how to shift our own minds and really not just like get to the front side of these things for a day or two, but to really change our patterns like forever?
Absolutely. And just to say, I haven't healed people, they heal themselves. I show them how to do it. We are all such incredible beings. And basically what I was doing, you see all the time where people have been working with the same pattern since childhood. Like they're going back and working with their childhood self and the wounding and all of these things. And so what happened is, as I was working with my mind, I realized that I wasn't getting better. And it was frustrating. But I could see like the placebo, and also I could see things like multiple personality disorder, where somebody could have like pain in one ailment or pain in one personality and not in another. Like people can be blind in one personality and not in another. And I was like, wait a second here, there is so much more. And so what I started doing was working with my mind in a different way. Now, one simple thing that I did was start to look at the awareness that different emotions affect the body differently. Like if somebody's embarrassed, their face turns red, or panic attack, racing heart, shortness of breath, and sexual thought, sexual physical response. And so I started going, okay, well, I need to figure out what specific emotions are affecting my body. So that was one thing that I did. And the beautiful thing is it's always a message. Like there's a woman that I work with who was losing millions in her business, had been through a hard time, was losing millions every year. And she ended up coming to me initially because she had pain in her knee. And what I found in her knee was she had a very strong pattern of self-criticism. She was so hard on herself. And so part of her message from her body was to change that. So I worked with her to change that. And literally that was part of the turnaround that created a radical shift to multi-$100 million. I mean, just huge. And of course, she took physical actions too. It's like, as you make changes on the inside, it reflects in your outside and you follow through with the action. And so her body was giving her the message that was like, hey, stop criticizing yourself. It's like a check engine light, if you will. It's like sometimes people have like anger, and that anger is throwing their body off, or self-criticism. So that's what I really love about understanding what's going on with the body is it's like, it's better than a horoscope, right? Your body is telling you like, hey, you've got to change this. It's like GPS.
Oh my gosh. My relationship with my body is so different since I started working with you. Now, when something happens with my body, I'm like, okay, body, you're telling me something. Why don't I listen? Rather than beating myself up for what's going on, that this is happening, or I need to go see the doctor. It's like, okay, well, my body's brilliant, right? And
can I tell you, you're a badass in that area. Like, so, like she'll call up and she'll be like, or send a message and say, hey, my body's trying to tell me something. What's it trying to tell me? And literally, like, I'll tell her, she's like on it, like follow through on it. Amazing. And just so much respect. I love, some people are okay, follow through. Like, you're a badass when it comes to like, all right, I'm going to do this.
well, thank you. Thank you. I received that. And we are talking to an audience of hundreds of thousands of women who are so oriented toward the power of positive thinking. These women are practitioners, they're next level healers, they're, super aware. And so the women that we work with take a lot of responsibility for the body breakdown. And what I'm curious about is those niggly patterns that we can't quite seem to figure out. I mean, I had knee pain for 4 years. I think you'll remember this. This is one of the first things that we solved in our work together, is that you helped me see that my knee pain was a pattern of beating up on myself. And when I really started reaching for, and write this down, you guys, if you're taking notes, reach for a higher vibration thought, reach for a thought that you actually want to be thinking, like, to really shift your thinking. I shifted my thinking and my knee pain hasn't been there for almost 2 years. And so, like, how do we get to the bottom of some of those niggly patterns?
Absolutely. One of the things that I would say is all the time you hear people like they go immediately back to the past. They either do one of two things. Is they either talk about the current problem, like talk about it to try to resolve it, or they go to the past and say, where is this in the past? Now, there's something that what I call is reap, is like reaping the rewards, but reverse emotional processing, which has to do with instead making sure to move forward first and lift first. And this is what I mean, is that imagine for a moment if a wounded adult is talking to a wounded child about a wound. How far can you really get and grow compared to if you take the adult self and you lift the adult self? Then what happens is now you have a healthier, happier adult talking to a wounded child self. So you have room for so much more radical transformation. So that's one thing that I do that's key. Go ahead. Right?
Right. That's so huge.
Isn't it? That is like a key. Like one key is exactly that. Heal the adult self. Don't go to the childhood self. And by the way, some people, what they do is they start to understand that their childhood patterns are an issue. And then they start to say, okay, well, my poor childhood self. And what they do is then they put in more sympathy. And then imagine if somebody has a sympathy vibration, then it's like more problems then end up manifesting. And so you always want to make sure to reap the reward by reverse emotional processing and lift first. And the other way, because it's not just about lifting. Yeah, lifting is important for sure, and healing the adult self, but our emotions, there's something else I call emotion controlled consciousness. And what that is our emotions control what we see. So if you're really, really, really pissed off at somebody, you tend to see all the negative in them. But if you're crazy in love with somebody, you tend to see all the positive things in them. And so what happens is the more that you can lift your emotions and feel that shift, the more your consciousness can expand to see more solutions. And so, like, even one example, as far as, business goes, I always, it's like, if you look at the Great Depression, there was more millionaires created during that time than any other time in history. And while a lot of people were locked into fear, there were people who were feeling in their strength, feeling in their power, feeling assertive. And so if somebody's been feeling fearful and all of that, then it's going, okay, we'll create that radical shift in their emotions to start feeling different so they can start seeing the opportunity, seeing the success. And of course, if there's a health issue going on, that can also help to radically shift that as well.
This is huge. It's so huge, because when we go to tell the same story again, and it's something that really hurt us, or it's the reason why we're such and such way, if we don't lift first, we risk just lodging the story into place more and more and more and more. And I think a lot of the modalities that we reach for, modalities that I've learned, can end up almost, I've been trained to like love those small parts of myself without lifting first. And it's like, now I'm almost lodging those smaller parts of myself, or the wounds or the pain or the trauma. I'm almost lodging that story into place if I don't lift first.
Absolutely. That's something that I see is so common, is people are taught, oh, love this self. But this is what the problem is. We as human beings need love. So then if you give love to those parts, we have patterns of feeling love. We have patterns of love and connection. It creates a pattern or enforces a pattern. So absolutely.
It's kind of profound. It's like this small thing that makes a ginormous difference, right? How do you recommend we lift if we're in our own stuff and we can't get out of it?
this is this is what I did during my injury. I'm on morphine and in extreme pain and trying to figure out how to get better, and just so much. I mean, it felt like razor blades were like through my body. It was so painful. And I was going, okay, I need to lift. And so I started using music, and I call it mind programming with music, but not, and I had been listening to like the spa music and the healing music and all that stuff, but that didn't really do the trick. And I had been doing that for years. So I was like, let's change this up. So I started listening to like, It's a Beautiful Day by U2. And I'm like, and who does that? Like, I'm laying there, it's a beautiful day, don't slip away, when all I wanted to do was slip away. But I was like, okay, I gotta bring in that feeling. And then also walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves. So I was like, I mean, who's injured laying there going, walking on sunshine, and it's gonna feel good. It hurt like crazy to try even walk and move and all of that. But I started just bringing in those feelings really, really strongly, because a lot of people, they're trying to think their way there. And I was like, I didn't need to think. The last thing I needed to do was think because I was thinking, oh, life is hard, life is painful. But when you change your consciousness and you think from a different place, so then I would lift, and think from a new place. So that's why it's reverse emotional processing is all about lifting the emotions first and feeling that first, then thinking from that new space.
Oh my gosh. It's like we can't solve a problem in the same consciousness that it was created. It's like it just locks it so much in that this is counterintuitive, I think, for some of us that have been trained in other modalities. And it's like, it's not like we have to throw out everything we know, but if we lift first, it's like everything starts working better. At least it has for me. And, I would say, like, find those songs that the words really lift you. I use music every morning now upon Brandy's suggestion, and I dance on the beach and I find the words that I need next. You can follow me on Spotify. I don't know if you're on Spotify, Brandy. I haven't checked you out, but find those songs.
Actually, I have a list on Spotify.
Oh, nice. I'm going to find you. I'm going to follow you.
So I have a question. Is it that you go on the beach to listen to those songs, or is it because you also got proposed to on the beach?
It's because I've been dancing on the beach for as long as I can remember. And I think I got proposed to on the beach because he knows I love the beach.
I mean, nicely manifested. Just saying.
Yeah, totally. I'm a good manifester, and you have only supported that process. And okay, so maybe we should just do a short experiment for a few minutes and just like use me as an example. So Brandy, I've been having this like little inflammation in the back of my throat for the last few days. And I just can't quite figure out like how to shift it.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Bingo. 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 All right, here we go. Bingo. If I ask you if there's a part of you who would like your house to feel even cleaner and even more organized.
It does. It's like I've been letting that part go. It's just like it's gotten cluttery.
Are you going with the old story or the new story?
Okay. So my house is, I actually have some time tonight. I could tidy up my house and create it even more, right? Because my fiance moved in and there's certain things we don't have systems for. And like, it's just been feeling like it's just reached to the point of like, okay, enough.
Bingo. So that's what's coming up, is the part of you that's feeling a bit of frustration with all of that. It's sitting there. And yeah, so it says, so also, bingo, if you could put in some systems regarding it, and you say, okay, so instead of, because when things build up and they don't have a system, then it builds up again and they don't have a system. But if you said, okay, I'm going to take care of these, and what could the system be so it doesn't happen again? What would that look like?
Oh, that's a great idea. I could have my assistant like know where to put books away when books get left around the house. I could give my assistant like a list of all the junk mail that could just go straight into the recycle and never even hit my dining room table. I don't even want to see it.
Right. And by the way, I mean, let's be honest, whenever you have somebody move in, there's a change in systems. It's just
Totally.
systems. And I know you like everything so organized in place, which is we all do. It's a nice feeling. So I'm with you. I'm with you. But yeah,
It
so
matters.
it does. It's a flow of energy. It's an awesome feeling.
Like it actually, it's literally like draining down the back of my throat right now. How do you do it? How do you do that? You're so brilliant.
Bingo. By the way, bingo. Yeah, it just says shifting through that and then taking action on it would be beautiful.
Yeah.
And by the way, that brings up a really great point, is that a lot of times when it comes to manifesting, a lot of times people are like, okay, well, I'm just going to make a change on the inside. And everything takes some physical action. Sometimes, even if somebody's manifesting their perfect partner, then, and you do, then it's like, okay, well, you meet that person and then you have to exchange numbers or meet them or connect with them and spend time and bond. I mean, it's just, so everything takes some physical action with it. And so it's a beautiful transformational process. That's the goal, is real change.
Yeah. So if we don't have you telling us what it might be, and we have a symptom plaguing us, and we start to kind of go through and this is something I've done when you're not there. I go through the inventory of like, what might this be? And sometimes I'll muscle test. Sometimes I can just feel when I start to ask my body, like, what would alleviate this pain, or what would have me feel lighter right now? What else can you give us in terms of guidance of really finding those solutions as we're doing our own work?
I think asking yourself, going through the things is a great way. Also, the more tuned into your body and your being that you get, the more you'll notice. I would also say another thing is it that the more you just stay happy and you really shift your mind, the more everything opens up. And I would say this, it's kind of like, a few things. One way to put it is, if somebody's really, really, really frustrated and you try to reason with them, like a woman walks in, she's really, really frustrated, you try to reason with her, it's not going to go so well, right? But if she's calm, you can reason with her. Now, if you take that to the next level and you think about the more that you are in positive state of mind, the more open you are and receptive to information, to hear, to take in information. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I'd say you asked how I became so damn intuitive. I would say that another thing, there are two other things that are really key. I would say integrity is so important. That in every area, relationship. And when I say integrity, by the way, it's even how you treat people, and it's just, and feeling good and not feeling guilt patterns and things like that. So that, and then I would also say, really shutting down old patterns, like really clearing them. And that's part of, when you lift yourself and then you clear patterns, when you really do it, the best way to describe it for me, it's kind of like I think we're all intuitive, we all have intuition or the empath. I mean, energy's around us. It's kind of like Wi-Fi, and it's all around us. And there's so much Wi-Fi. And it's like if you're in a restaurant and somebody's way across the restaurant and there's a ton of people and you try to talk to them, it's impossible. But if it's an empty restaurant and you try to talk to them, it's pretty easy because you can hear them. And so I would say the more that we shut down negative processes and negativity, the more we tune in and the more we can connect with all that. And so that's part of what I did, was exactly that, is to heal. I shut down stuff that was not serving me and lifted my energy. And now my brain, my Wi-Fi, I call it my universal Wi-Fi, works really well.
Wow. I am so blown away by the work you've done to become the woman that you are. So resonant. Like, thank you for speaking truth in a world where there's so much noise. The last piece I'll just share is that my father, his life ended really tragically. Well, a lot of people would say tragically, a year and a half ago. And Brandy your ability to help me cut out any influences that would taint that experience or would make that experience be negative was like next level. And you helped me to just orient toward my dad's spiritual freedom, the new relationship that I could have with my dad now that he was out of his body. You were like a mama, like a spiritually like attuned mama bear, like protecting me from so much negativity by just helping me anchor in what I knew about people transitioning out of their bodies. And I had the most blissful experience of my father's death because you held that vibration for me when I couldn't do that for myself. And so I just want to remind every single one of you what Brandy's saying about cutting out the negative, not going to the influences when you know you need to stay positive about a certain subject, not going to the influences that you know are going to bring you down. It's key because every single one of you has a message to bring. Every single one of you listening has a gift to give. And we become the stewards of our own vibration. And we must do that. And just Brandy, thank you for understanding that. And what would you add? And thank you for getting me through my father's transition with so much grace.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And what I would add to that is that the way that you moved through that and followed again, like just, you're beautiful. And just to the T, you were like, okay, this is, and what you said is not being stuck in those negative influences because there are so many. And let's be honest, not only in that situation, but in life right now. And where, if you listen to too much of the news or this, that, the other, what everybody else is saying, you go that direction. And it's like, for you to have said, okay, this is the plan. This is what I'm going to do. And you did it so beautifully and gracefully and fabulously. It was wonderful. And it's a great message for life itself that if you ever, there's negativity that sometimes can try to suck you in, and to really say, I'm going to stay positive and I'm going to feel positive and I'm going to feel it so much and get it in so much that it just becomes me, is an incredible feeling. And so that's what I would say. It's just absolutely that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. It's just absolutely huge. I mean, I chose not to announce my father's death on Facebook because I didn't want the outpouring of sympathy. I chose to go to the people that I knew could hold that this was actually just as much of a celebration as it was a transition. And you taught me that that's how you handled it when your dog transitioned. And like, I just want to say to every single one of you, like, these moments, you guys, we are leaders. We're stepping into our next level. We're stepping into our next vibration of joy and bliss and contribution. And it's so beautiful, this journey. And when you can become a steward and you can make some bold decisions around where you go and how you go about sharing these kinds of things that we go through, I think it's a game changer. Anything to add there?
I agree. And just as far as stepping out into the more into the world and making this change, it is up to all of us to do that, to be that. And just, I have had some people who have used as far as their song to get in that fierceness, to do that, have been like Katy Perry Roar or Demi Lovato Confident, and feel that feeling. And they start their morning with that. And it's like, they're like, all right, game on. Let's do this. And it's, yeah. So, but the difference, it's up to all of us to really, it's time for the world to change. And the time is now.
And we're changing the world.
We are changing the world.
We're the ones changing the world. And so pick your favorite songs. I love Champion. I love Waka Waka by Shakira. I think it's such a great song to lift me. Yeah, India RE. There's so many good songs.
To celebrate good times. I mean, wake up to that song. It's like, okay.
Yes, yes, yes. We are the ones changing the world. And I get goosebumps as I think about each of you going out into the world and raising your own vibration and giving your gifts from that place. And that's actually what's going to have people want to hire you, by the way, is when you're radiating, when you're in your joy, when you're in your strength. you're in your unapologetic power. That's what's going to have people go, oh my gosh, like I want some of what she's having. So thank you to every single one of you for the courage and the commitment to keep bringing your gift. And for those of you that want to tap into Brandy's wisdom more, Brandi, what's the best way? Okay, so your podcast is called Heal Yourself and Change Your Life. I love your podcast. I've listened to a bunch of episodes. How do people find your podcast?
It is on Apple. So
Awesome. Yeah.
awesome.
Heal yourself and change your life. And head over to brandygilmore.com. That's brandygilmore.com. And we'll put that in the comments of this training and in our show notes so that you can find out more about Brandi and check out her podcast and check out her TEDx talk so that you can start training yourself to think in this higher vibration way and create your own autonomy and sovereignty. Brandi, if you were to give advice to the one of you that was just kind of starting to bring this message to the world years ago, for any of us, any women who are listening that are just getting started in their business, finding their message, what would you like to leave them with?
I would say this. I would say that if you lift yourself and keep taking action and keep taking action, not get stuck in perfectionism, but keep taking action and keep going, you'll be surprised where the journey ends up. You just got to keep educating yourself, keep lifting yourself, keep expanding and growing, and be amazed with you. That's what I would say.
Amazed with you. I love you so much, Brandi. Thank you so much.
I love you so much, honey. Thank you for having me.
You guys are all amazing. Keep giving your gift. Mwah. Don't forget to hit subscribe so I can keep getting you weekly content to grow your business that is relevant, authentic, and effective so you can get out there and shine your light and be the messenger that you're here to be because your clients are waiting for you.